Hey guys, welcome to the Spectacular Opinion. And today we have new guests because we're doing something new. Like you can see how cute they are. Cute black folks.
Oh boy.
I love my black. I love my black caramel. Is it caramel? I see caramel.
Caramel, my dear. Caramel.
And you guys know, in this podcast we talk about real life situation, real life opinions, and we talk. We invite guests to come and give us their own take on these opinions. So you guys stay tuned, and don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share, and comment, especially to help us boost this video. Thank you, and
Send it.
and sit down and watch.
Everybody say God bless.
All right, so let's introduce our guest.
Okay. On our left, we have beautiful Tosin, baby. Oh, wow. And right next to her, we have our wonderful, beautiful Omolara. Oh, yeah. And then to our right, we have Mr. David, as in Daphne from the Bible. And then next to him, last but not the least, we have Boomy Boom Boom. Oh, yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So.
Any questions or just
You
Yeah.
have to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, and the usual Benjamin, Benji,
Okay.
Yeah.
The usual.
sweet and short.
Benji.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Toby.
Okay. So we're gonna go straight to the questions.
You're not going to introduce yourself?
Oh, I thought I already introduced
You
myself.
did not.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Okay, as you all know, my name is Dr. Zeke, and if you stay on this podcast, you probably have known me as also Your Majesty. So.
Okay. And you guys know me as Saint Janet, Shay Shy, Shay Savage, all of the above. That's it.
Okay, so let's get this food cooking. With me with a question. So.
All right. All right. So my first question is, what is a nice guy? And then it's a two-part question. What is a nice guy? And then, is the phrase "nice guys finish last" an exaggeration, or is there some strong validity to it?
It's a tough one.
Who's a nice guy?
Nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of a nice guy, I think like, the well-mannered ones, like the yes ma'am, the yes sir kind of guy, like the very respectful ones. I wouldn't necessarily say that I really believe in the saying that nice guys finish last. Because at the end of the day, it's like, when you think about your first impression on somebody, where like your looks matters more. So like, even if you're nice, if you're nice and not that good looking, then more than likely you're gonna finish last. Just be honest. Sorry. That's just the way it is. But if it's someone where like, when I think of like certain girls where the guy might not be that nice, but he looks good, she gonna give him a chance over the guy that's nice but don't look good. So it's an unfair statement to make that nice guys finish last, because that's not always the case.
Yeah, I feel like there's no definition of a nice guy, and I say that because a bad guy to another woman can be a nice guy to another woman, right? Because there's probably somebody out there like, oh, I can't stand her. But there's probably a lot of guys who are probably like, oh my gosh, she's a nice girl. But I feel like everybody has like different experiences with different people. But for me, even the ones who say yes ma, yes sir, let me tell you, they don't really nice guys. Because even the ones that go to church 24/7, I know nice guys, they're just all for face. But I think it just comes down to how they treat you, like, how you guys are in public, around family, even in private, like the energy stays the same. It's not like, oh, behind closed doors, you're different. And when you're out in public or around certain people, you're different. So, I don't know, I feel like everybody has their own definition of a nice guy to me.
All right. What about the man? We nervous.
I think defining a nice guy is a very subjective thing, because everyone, like they said, is going to define it very differently. So I feel like a nice guy is someone who is also human, but has good intentions, or I guess nice intentions. And even if there's a situation where they come short, I feel like a nice guy can still be a nice guy, and also human at the same time. I don't know. it's all up to that person to define what a nice guy is.
Okay.
All right, and to just piggyback on what David said, I think that a nice guy, and to answer you guys' questions, they do ultimately finish last, especially if you're talking about the dynamics between in relationships with like girlfriend and boyfriend. The nice guy does finish last because like almost all the time they give so much that they're like overlooked and they're like kind of stepped on throughout majority of like the relationships. So the guys that kind of have a little jerk to them to their character, or not so mean but not nice at all, but kind of neutral, they have more success per se when it comes to relationships. And yeah, I think that ultimately, to answer you guys' question, they do finish last just based off of that.
Oh no, I don't think that they finish last. The reason why I say that is because I do think at a certain age or whatever, like even if a woman becomes like 26 or whatever, the nice guy who was nice to somebody at 24, he's probably like 26, 28 now, and they're still going to meet, like he's still going to meet his person. And so I don't think they necessarily finish last. I do feel like they probably have the most odd encounter with different women because they're super and overly nice. But I don't necessarily think, and I don't even think a mean person can't be a nice guy. Because just because you are more stubborn or more like very opinionated or stronger, so that don't mean you're not a nice guy. It just means that's just part of your character. But you can still be a nice guy, if that makes sense. Like you can still treat your woman good, but like you could be mean, like if I don't know, if you mean to kids or mean to like somebody, but you're still a nice guy in a way. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, my opinion, I agree with Booming. I think it might be ignorant, but I think that nice guy thing is a young boy act. I feel like the older you get, the more you have to be able to establish boundaries when you converse or you go about your life with adults. And a lot of, from what I've seen with nice guys, which I don't know if I used to be one, is they're always trying to please. They're always trying to used to. They're always trying to please people, and and they're never really there. I think one act about nice guys is they're selfless, and rather than being selfish, and to a certain degree, you got to be selfish in this world, give and take to a certain degree. And a lot of times, if you want to go in the dynamic of man and woman, he's giving and giving and giving, and he most of the time, so much that he's giving, he's not really caring about that giving being reciprocated equally. So that's why I feel like, nice guys finish last. I think so one end is nice guy, one end is extreme, and then the other end is like the criminals. I feel like you should be like in the middle. That's why I said the extreme end. No, because I don't think bad boys. I don't feel like they're in the extreme end. The criminals. You know what I'm saying? Oh, sorry. I feel like the criminals are the far end. I feel like I think what I would teach my sons, if I ever have sons or just young boys, to be a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? Respect people, but also require respect. So have your boundaries. Don't go around always trying to please people, because there's too many people in this world. Too many people want too many different things. You're gonna run insane trying to please everybody. So just be a gentleman. By the same time have your boundaries, because especially when you're in a relationship, when she's getting angry and she's throwing fits and she wants to have her way. Sometimes as a man you got to put your foot down, like we're not gonna do that. That's not how this is gonna go. Whereas nice guys like, hey, anything to make her happy, happy wife, happy life, right? So that's my
period. But if you have a wife that's disturbing you one more, you die young.
It could be a behavioral disorder because everyone, we are all different from one another. So just because I can take some things doesn't mean a man like me will be able to take some other things. Yeah. Some people easily get triggered due to some little things that you would be like, why are they triggered? So for me, a nice guy is just someone that is, for me, the general definition for nice guy is someone that will do anything pretty much. That is a giver. A giver could be seen as a nice guy. Oh, when you need something, you can always call him and he would always give you. You understand? And most ladies take that as takes that for granted. If I'm right or am I wrong?
I would not say.
But that don't even mean that.
So even if it's okay, let's just say he's giving you everything,
Or he's a gentleman.
then he just cheats. He gets somebody pregnant. He's still a nice guy because he gives you everything when you need it.
No. That's why I said. That's
what she
why.
was saying before about he has to be consistently nice. Like it has to be
Inside and out.
That would take. I think a nice guy is someone that will take anything, pretty much. What I mean by someone that will take anything is even if his girl cheats on him, he will still forgive her easily.
So
No boundaries.
pretty much like a pushover, because there
Yeah,
are
like
some,
a pushover.
there are some nice ladies too that they will take whatever comes their way. I'm
Exactly.
like, well, I love him, I will
Yeah.
stay here.
So which is why I also mentioned that when I was defining nice guy as someone that gives everything, I'm just talking about the general definition of a nice guy. Or let me put it this way: the people that everyone calls a nice guy. You understand? If you see, he gives you this. Your guy is such a nice man. Oh wow, you have a really he's such a nice guy. You understand? Someone that you can just get anything from, pretty much. So it could be a pushover in some cases. Not all nice guys are pushover. A nice guy could be nice to his ladies, to his girlfriend. That doesn't mean that he's going to be nice to his family or everybody. So it depends on how we are looking at it. But since we are dealing with male and female, I believe we are looking at it in a relationship format, which means a free giver and someone that you can just that you can just ride a pushover, pretty much.
They can be in your friendships too, and in workplaces too, and even with your neighbors too. You have some son-loving neighbors and some nice neighbors. I have a son-loving neighbor, but let's continue.
But in terms of,
That's a relation.
Jimmy who said like he used to be a nice guy. So like, let me ask you now, what is the difference now? What have you shifted, and has it made any difference and impact in terms of like with women?
Well, I would say establishing boundaries, definitely, and knowing what you want. And to a certain degree, nice guys are, generally speaking, obviously there's billions of people in this world, so I can't speak for everyone. But from what I've seen, when I mentioned the selflessness, they're kind of wanting to make everyone happy. You know what I mean? They don't really care about getting theirs for the most part. It's just, hey, as long as everyone's good, if I eat, so be it. If I don't, all right. And I feel like in my case, it's just establishing boundaries, one, knowing what I want, and not being, people that know me, know my family. People always call me quiet boy. They always say that I'm gentle boy. And I was that when I was growing up. Yes, definitely. But I feel like as the older I got, just with women in general, you can, but it just doesn't work. I never seen it work, generally speaking. Like you just being complacent, you always hear women like men that know what they want. So I just feel like you can't. I'm always being complacent. I'm very laid back. It's hard to fight it. It's just who I am.
It's your personality.
It's my personality. I'm laid back. I'm very chill, very calm. So I guess people interpret that as being a quiet boy. It's just not. I like to, if you know my father, he's very calm as well. Obviously, when he's engaged with youth, when he's engaged with children, he'll make jest, he'll joke with you. But generally speaking, his demeanor is a very calm man. Like even when I was living with my parents. Every time they're angry, my dad doesn't shout. He doesn't do a shout match with my mom. when I was living with them, it was always my mom screaming. He's like, "Yeah, hey,
I mean,
well, we'll tackle the issue later. Let me rest." That's what it is, and that's being his first son. That's the personality that I've carried on. So it's just, I don't know if I answered your question as far as
kind of, because I was gonna say with establishing the boundaries. So now is there, I guess with women, is there more women now that want to talk more? Because we're saying that nice guy carry last, right? You always carry last. So now that you've established that, boundaries and kind of like shifted from being too nice and all that, has it changed for you in terms of women?
exactly.
Yeah, I would say yes. I would say, remember when I gave you that level from there's nice guys and there's criminal, and then in the middle is like the gentleman. So I'm right there in the gentleman. No, one comes from criminal. Well, the criminals, the Yahoo boys, the scammers, all that type of
Why we gotta go back in that?
I'm just giving. I wanted to give you both. I wanted to give you both ends, for balance. I didn't want to just, I wanted to tackle both ends so that way people can understand that are watching. And there's two ends. There's two extreme ends. There's all this space in the middle.
And the end, pretty much.
Yeah, no beginning and end. Just one end.
Do you feel like you now being in that middle space, right? You now being that gentleman,
I'm criminal.
got you further with women than you were getting before?
Yeah, definitely.
I would disagree because the reason why I would disagree.
That was a personal
I mean,
question.
that's a personal question. Well, I'm just saying, to me, the reason why I disagree is because it's there to me, like, I mean, it's true that ladies take advantage of nice guys, but when you're an asshole, when you're an asshole pretty much, you guys are confusing me. I don't want time. You guys are talking. You didn't tell me about time when you were talking. But anyways, as I always say, the ladies have their taste, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some ladies like nice guys, and some ladies don't like nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the ladies you are going for, maybe they don't like nice guy. But sometimes you might be misinterpreting them. Maybe it's something about you they don't like. Maybe it's not because you are nice or anything.
That's true.
You understand? But anyways, you can, even if you change, maybe you might even get what you don't want. You might get what is available, and they're like, oh, you're an asshole, but at the end of the day, maybe you might get someone that don't want to stay with you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I understand.
So
Continue.
no, continue.
Okay, don't lie. Don't lie. There are some women and there are some men who likes assholes as you know their partners. Like they like the are you mad? And then the lady gives them back. You two, you're mad. They like that, and some don't like that. You know.
What is a bad guy? Because we went from bad to just say criminals, right?
Yeah.
Because not all criminals are bad guys. So it's like,
Exactly.
what are we defining as being a bad guy?
Good question.
Because somebody can be look rough around the edges, but be the sweetest things ever. So
Exactly.
when we're saying bad guy, what is a bad guy? Like the one that abused, the one that
Exactly.
Because I don't know. I'm saying like criminals.
Criminal is a whole game. It's a whole different
It's
ball
not
game.
everybody has a different definition of what a bad guy is and what a good girl and a bad girl
Should
is.
we have the guys?
Oh God, sorry.
Yeah, please.
I just salute to Benjamin's theory in regards to what was the point that you just made?
When they're younger.
Yeah, when they're younger, yeah. So by the time that some women, when they get to a point that would realize like, okay, the good guys is not working, and now they're looking for the so-called the bad guys are not working now, and they're looking for the so-called good guys. By that time, they're kind of burnt out, and when they get to that point, it's like, okay, the younger women that are kind of going through this cycle, they're the ones in which the men's got to kind of have their eyes for. So when they're burnt out, at that point, it's like, okay, well, you done had plenty of chances to kind of, go through X, Y, and Z type of man, and now you're here and you're looking for the so-called good guy, but the good guy's overlooking you because of, whatever it is that he's overlooking at you for.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna look at the younger ones coming up, and they're kind of like following like it's a weird cycle, but you kind of see it often,
Yeah.
And I say like for women that's kind of like gone through that and it gets to a certain peak in their lives, they're kind of burnt out. So like at this point, now what is it that we kind of look for when we had this opportunity in the past to kind of give these so-called good guys a chance?
Mm.
Good point.
Can I ask you something?
It's crazy because I feel like this second question kind of ties back into our first question.
I know what I'm doing.
Because it's like, with this theory you have, which I think is very, it has validity to it. The whole, the good guys carry last. Ultimately that's what happens because as time goes by, the good guys have been overlooked for so long. When the girls that they desired are available, they've gone through the bad guys.
Exactly.
So of course, in that aspect, of course, they're always going to carry last because they're like second place.
Mhm.
We're still referring to bad guys as scammers.
Okay, so what is exactly? So the question.
Bad guys and scammers and criminals.
Actually, let's.
I gave you.
Like,
No, so I said, here's a nice guy, and then you got the criminals on the very far end. So these are two extremes. The bad guys is somewhere in the middle. So you
I don't
have
think
all those
bad
guys in the middle. Yeah,
I'm not
So
saying
I
you
guess
went.
it's like the extreme is being like a murderer.
yeah, a
And
criminal.
then like everybody else kind of like falls.
I think it's shit.
Yeah,
Okay, wait. Let me do it this way. Let me put it this way, right? What you are saying is good guys. That's just
Nice
the
guys.
scale of 10.
Nice guys.
Okay, nice guys.
Okay.
Good. No, good guys are nice guys, pretty much. Nice guys are nice guys.
they kind of
Okay, wait. So let me do it this way. Let me just use math. Let me use math, right?
Okay.
According to my own understanding, you have 1 to 10, right?
Okay.
A good guy will be on number 1.
Okay.
A criminal will be on number 10.
No, I
Okay.
just
A bad guy will be on 7. Because when you say they're in the middle, yeah, it makes it feel like they are number 5.
I think it's like
So, yes, so,
I feel like it's the ranges. I think
So-
it's like the ranges going from 10 down. It's like the bad up into 5, and then the 9
From
going
balanced
from 1
to
to
goodness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is a bad guy? Can you define a bad guy?
But that's
Let's start.
So I would say someone who's abusive, not so much physically, but also mentally. One, someone who is not responsible, relationship-wise. You know, a serial cheater.
Hey,
You
serial.
know, someone.
Chronic one at
Yeah, serial
that.
cheater. You know, I did abusive, I did serial cheater. What else? What
A
else?
selfish person.
So yeah, selfish. Someone who's
Pathological
rude
liar.
and who's someone just very disrespectful. That is a bad guy. Someone who's disrespectful, doesn't have any kind of respect for anyone. So I would say those are the 3 main things.
No,
What about
you
you, Chita?
had the
Yeah,
liar.
serial cheater.
Had the liar.
Oh yeah, serial cheater, serial liar.
I use a cereal.
I mean, someone.
All the time, like
Yeah.
this is you.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
that's your lifestyle. That's your life. Like they'll
And I
catch
would
you
say-
red-handed and you're still lying.
If you want to go in the dynamic of man and woman in relationships, someone who has no respect for women, I would say a misogynist, or someone who just doesn't respect women in general, or people. That's what I would classify
A bad
as a
guy.
nice guy. Now there are different levels to that guy. So that one person that I just made, there's different levels to
Yeah.
that
Only
person.
branches.
So
What is yours?
yeah, what is yours? you know, Birds is definitely not Yahoo. Go ahead, go. Jay, what is a bad guy
Jesus
to you?
is Lord. I'll come back to me, please.
Okay,
Okay.
Toby.
The bad guy is just someone that is not really serious about a relationship that plays with girls pretty much.
Okay.
That's what I would say as a bad guy. Like you have a girl to yourself, but yeah, you are doing shit around. You're cheating on your girl. You're
Shitting around.
You're effing around.
They're fucking around. Period.
All right, Boomy, what about you?
Kind of like what Toby was saying. A bad guy could pretty much be like a person that's in a committed relationship but not playing commitment. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
like you're in this relationship whole time. You're supposed to act a certain way, but you're not. You're doing the opposite.
Exactly.
So
That's a bad guy.
yeah.
Can I say my definition now?
Let the guy finish. When I start with the girl.
I agree with what you said. Like, you know, bad guys don't have any regard for anyone themselves.
Yes.
There's no attempt at making any compromise with anything.
Uh-huh.
Although, you know, they should be in a compromising relationship with their significant other. It's just one sided in their eyes. So.
Okay.
y'all nice guys back then.
Ooh.
Oh, it's the face for me.
Let's just figure that
I
out.
guess it's up to you to
I like that. That's good. That's what a bad guy would do. A good guy could do that too, though.
Exactly. Everybody has a tendency
Yeah, a
of
good guy could
changing.
do that too.
Oh yeah, a warrior.
All right. No, you said okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so my own is a bad guy is someone who they are not dating that person, but that person is dating them.
Okay.
And someone who is hiding their girlfriend or their partner. But they're out here this one just doing bullshit.
Okay.
So she can't
That's that. I agree with you.
I mean, I think of it as the guy who like wants his cake and wants to eat it too. So
Exactly.
the one that like you expect all these things from other people, but you're not willing to do that. Or another way you can also put it is like people who like intentionally damage a situation, because there are some nice guys who might do something unintentional that causes emotional damage to someone else or might hurt someone else. But the key there was like the intent. Like the bad guy is all knowing. Like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He has a whole plan, strategy. They be sloppy, but they be doing it.
Yeah, so for me, definitely everything that my sister said, they said. And then like for me, it's not only just like the cheating part, it's like extremely controlling, trying to take over my life, my finances, mentally abuse, like, well, let's just say abuse as a whole. So that goes under physical, mental, everything.
Criminal.
And spiritual.
Spiritual, like just all those things, like that is a
Because
bad guy
it's
to me.
possible to be abused spiritually.
Yes,
Very
So,
possible.
that is very true.
I'm gonna It's a 3-part question. Why do a lot of women complain about men not showing emotions when it's the guys that are aloof or emotionally unavailable that seemingly get the most attention,
I'll
or
let
seem to get the most attention.
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Ladies,
I'm coming for you, oh.
This question is more of a ladies' question.
All right, ladies, go ahead.
So you said that if a guy is emotionally unavailable.
Yeah. So why do a lot of women complain about men not showing emotions when it's the men that are aloof or emotionally unavailable that seemingly get the attention for the most part? Or why does it seem that way?
So your question is tough.
it's not tough.
So you're basically saying like a woman's complaining about something she already knew about? I mean, like she's complaining about him being like unavailable, emotionally, all that, but she's still dating him and then she's complaining about it?
Generally speaking, or she may not even be in a relationship, but yeah, just generally speaking.
Can I say?
Oh yes. Oh,
So I feel like that with the woman just staying, probably with her just thinking, oh, you know, maybe it would change. I can't change him. I can't change him. Just a bit more time, a little more time. Then it becomes, oh more, I can't do this shit anymore. And then you're like,
and then that's 6 years later. To go back to this point,
Okay,
6 years
well,
later.
I'm not one. I don't believe I can change anyone, but I think for me, for me, my issue when it comes to like the emotion piece is like I feel like guys are on the extremes with that because you have the very emotional guys and then you have the ones that are just like, you never go see me cry.
that's true.
You have hard ones. Okay, so you got the ones that will tell you like, baby, I'm struggling to fight my demons for me, and then you have the ones that are just not gonna tell you anything. I think when that happens, it's like a lot of times people are not in the right relationship to begin with. Like the guy does not feel emotionally safe to now like show his emotions. So at that point, I don't think the right response for the girl is to be upset. It's to like, how can I create a safe space for him where like, okay, now if he shares his emotion, I'm not gonna throw it back in his face. I'm not gonna call him, the B word if he cries. Like I'm gonna respect the fact that he's being, emotionally vulnerable with me the same way I would with him. So it's like people kind of have to find people that they feel safe with, right? Because the girl can't go for that hard body dude and then expect him to like, girl, be for real.
But
It's so emotional.
I don't know though, because I feel like there's also a situation where men are like they're unemotionally available, whatever, and a girl can feel it. But then, like maybe on a Wednesday, he's all like, "Oh, I miss you," like. In some way, still keeping her there, even if you don't want her, you're not emotionally available for her. She can sense it, but then the next day, you're all like, I miss you so much. I just need you around me, or baby, like there's nobody else I want to. Like that's not fair. And so sometimes women are not just there just because, like we're not just complaining just because we're stupid, or like we're realizing we know that he doesn't want us, and we're still sitting there. Sometimes. Men manipulate the situation. Like you really get confused about how they really feel.
Can I ask all the ladies a question? Is it true that based on what our sister Tosi said, women fall in love with words? Is that your weakness? Words?
No,
but it can be action. But it could be actions too, though. Because even though he's unemotionally available, that don't mean that he's not like, oh, let me come over, let me come see you, right? Or I didn't want to see, but then once he leaves and go home, you might not hear from him again, right? But then in 2 days, he's all like, oh, I just sent something to your door. There is guys like this.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
there are guys like this who be like, oh, I just sent you some flowers because it's your birthday, or I just sent you some, like that's not fair.
There's some who purposely once they see that you're about to leave them, that's when they start to be emotionally available. Baby, I love you. I can't do without you. I'm like, you got my teeth.
I have a question. Because are we talking about, okay, there's some guys where like they're very romantic, right? So they'll do the flower, the chocolate, the good morning paragraphs, all that stuff, right? The one, I know paragraphs. If you text me good morning alone, I ain't texting you back. So you have the guys that like they show that like romance piece of it, and then there's the guys who just they want to fist bump you.
Like what up, bro?
Girl, what?
Available.
So that's all I want to know. Like, are we talking about the guys who like will show also like the romance piece, or do we mean like his own personal emotions, like when he's upset about something, or sad about something?
So to encapsulate all that, the stoic guys.
The what?
The stoic.
Mr. Big Word,
stoic. You don't know what stoic is? The man who's just not too hot, not too cold. when he's in a dire situation, you're not gonna see him.
So you just don't do nothing.
He just
Like it's not like he's going through something. He's
So
just
pretty much like
I
this.
mean,
or like
the behavior that you see most of our uncles. I mean,
Is it a guy like you, like a gentle guy?
Hello.
no. So the point I was trying to make. You see what a lot of our uncles. You do have the emotional uncles, but you know when he's in a. So when I say in a dire situation, let's say you lose your job. Instead of going to your bed and crying your tears out and, baby, I just lost my job, what are we gonna do? It's like, all right, damn, I lost my job. Hey, yo, Steven, do you have, what about that person? Can you put me on? He finds a solution to the problem rather
They don't
than,
have an emotional reaction. They just
yes,
go with the-
logical reaction.
My dad
That's,
was like that. My dad was like,
yeah, that's what I mean by, and aloof is just, I would say, what is someone that is aloof? Because I looked at the definition, it's someone who's just, their emotional is not, they don't wear it on their sleeve basically. You kind of see them, they're not too hot, not too cold, it's a straight line, you know? When she's getting angry at you, or she's crying, or she's bawling her tears out, you know, you're just kind of like, whoa.
I feel like the question was kind of okay.
Yeah.
Because like originally
your
the
question
question was making me feel like, why is the girl still there if he knows he's not emotionally available? But it sounds like that's just a character. Like it's not
That's
that.
who the guy
That's just
Yeah.
who that person is.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to, the reason why I said that seemed to get the most attention because it seems that women tend to go for that type of guy. Those type of guys seemingly, I feel like women just don't want men that are too emotional just like them. They want a guy who has, I'm sure you heard, I want a man that's my rock. Someone who I can come to when I'm, on my down day, someone who I can talk to, someone who I can, cry out to and, get a solution to, someone I can talk to, that sort of thing.
Quickly, some women actually do want some guys that are very emotional, like on the same emotional level.
How old are
as
they?
them. Yeah, they're look, there are different types of people in this.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
Yeah.
there are some that
Oh,
like
yeah.
guys that are emotionally unavailable. There's some that like guys that are very available emotionally wise. It just depends from how available he is from like what number to what number.
I guess everyone has different tastes.
Exactly.
and I don't even know if saying emotionally unavailable is even the right word because if we're just talking about how the person's character is, I mean
That's
that's
just
just who they are. I feel like emotionally unavailable is just kind of like I just don't have time for this relationship bonding thing right now. Like this is just not what I want to do. But yet the girl is still forcing for it to happen, right? But if we're just talking about somebody's character, like they don't wear their emotions on their sleeves. I mean, I feel like there is a girl who's able to handle those things. I personally just like a balance of both. Like when there's something wrong, I do want you to feel safe to talk to me and know that I'm here and I got your back. But I didn't ask you to be crying every day. Like, if I'm crying, don't cry with me. I mean, depending on what it is. But it's like, if I'm crying about my job, I'm used to be like, baby, good job. Like, no, we don't need to do that. I need you to be like, okay, baby, don't worry. We're going to figure out a way, whatever. But I mean, there's times where you guys are probably going to cry together. You guys have to. And I think it's fun if a man wants to cry, like, and show his emotions.
Don't you feel, okay, that's just the question I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's
like when a man cry, don't you feel, I mean, it depends though. Like the situation she just mentioned that you didn't like, wouldn't that make him less of a man?
If it's an everyday
No, if the female loses the job and the man is crying with the female, wouldn't you feel like they're supposed to, a man should be like a comforter. He should create the balance pretty much.
You're wrong.
When there's a problem that you both are facing, I know ladies are more emotional. Just like you mentioned, his mom would talk and his dad would be quiet. A man, that's what a man is supposed to be.
Yeah.
A man shouldn't be shouting while his wife is shouting.
There are some cases where the man is the one that's shouting and the woman is quiet. There are cases like that too.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned all these cases, but they are uncommon. they are one in 100 or 1 in 10 or 1
It's
in
just like
11.
some women are very abusive towards their husbands.
Yeah, when-
they beat their husband. The husband's the one that's crying.
I think it was the husband that signed up.
Everything.
Well, I mean, you're right, but the husband is that means that husband signed up for what he cannot handle.
So now it's
before the marriage.
Because the thing is, if there is an abuse in any relationship, no matter what, the man will always be at fault. No, it's not. No. Let me. Oh, wait. Let me land. No, what I'm not saying. What I'm saying in a nutshell. I'm not saying that the man is at fault. I'm just saying that everyone would always blame a man in a physical, in an abusive relationship because when a man and a woman is fighting and the woman is beating the man, they'll say that the man is a mumu man. That is not strong. That guy is allowing the woman to beat him. Then everyone will complain. And then if a man and I've even seen it. Even they did a what do they call it? A test, a reality test where
like
a
woman was winning the guy and everybody ran.
Yeah, and everybody, and then they will do
nobody went there when the woman was
when the man was
that was when the woman everybody was like stop it.
So that's why I said a man is always the one that everyone will put the fault on. You understand? In an abusive relationship, if the man is if everyone will be like, how you? It's just like I was watching a video too. I can compare it to the teacher harassing a student pretty much. If it was a female student, everyone in the YouTube, like the comment section would abuse the male teacher. That why is he like? You understand? Everyone will come for him. You see how the comment section. But if it was the male student, you will see even mostly guys will go to the comment section and saying this is what I've always wanted. That they wish that they are the one. That you see, like you see them commenting that they wish they are the one that was in the situation that the guy is just enjoying himself. which is always a problem.
There are crazy people in this world. That's just it.
Yeah, it always ends up coming down to the type of person you are and like what you define certain things to be. Because when I was saying like if he was crying with me, it's my enemy's husband. Please, the reason I'm going to say my own husband. But I was meaning like it's not like he doesn't have a job. It's just that the way he's expressing himself and his emotions with me is by crying with me that I lost my own job. You know, that's the turn off. Like, baby, calm down.
Baby, calm down.
I'm not saying that you're not a man. Why are you crying? Did you lose your job?
So like, I'm not saying you're not a man, but at this moment, I'm the person who needs you to be the rock,
comfort,
right?
yeah.
I don't need you because then when you start crying, I'm like, all right, bro, watch out. So, I mean, I think it just comes out again to how we all just look at it.
Why does it seem sex is always on the mind of men?
Wait.
Gentlemen, represent guys.
Speak your mind.
Yeah, why does it seem a lot of times that sex is always on the mind of men?
I mean, what other way should I put this? I mean, biologically, we're men and our testosterone. I mean,
I like that.
It's just proven that hey, we hornballs at most of the time. So that's just how it is. I mean, however, within the same light though, despite that, as you get older as a man, I mean, there's some type of like control that you must have and whatnot, that you have to kind of like, you know, be cautious of. You know what I'm saying? But it'd be like young teenagers, like personally, like me going out, like we just hornballs, you know what I mean? I'm sorry that, you know, sex is on my mind like almost all the time, but I can't control that because that's just how we were pretty much made.
I agree with that. You know, I feel like it just looks bad on our part because we're always ready to go, if that makes sense. There's never a time where it's like what valid reason does a man have to not be interested in sex? You know, what excuse is there? So knowing that as a fact, it's like, okay, you're always on, you're pretty much on. It's just always an assumption that you're always horny or you're always thinking about sex because you can always have sex. I just feel like it's anatomically different in that aspect. So one gender looking at another gender will always feel that way. Just because it's not understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Sorry, before you ask, if I was in your before you add, if I was in your position, I would just be like, not all men have sex in their head all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Generally
You
speaking,
said what?
generally speaking.
Like sex doesn't ring in all men's head every time.
Yeah.
It's not always sex that is the. I mean, Yeah, it's not always sex that is always the main goal. You understand? I mean, sex is the main goal actually. Sex is the end goal. Let me say it's the end goal. It's the end goal, but it's not the main goal.
It's the first goal.
It's the end goal.
Exactly.
It's the beginning, middle, and end.
The first goal is to get her, right?
Okay.
The second goal is to have chemistry.
Number 2.
For her to have the understanding.
Number 3.
Then the end goal is to
do
enter inside the goalpost.
Oh!
But can I say something real quick though?
Alright.
Look, I'm just saying, you know, it's not me. I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Not when you say it like that.
I mean, with sex being on guys' mind, I feel like there's some ladies too that 24/7. It's sex that's in their head. Like some women, I feel like women are actually more hornier, if that's a word, than some men. So you get.
You're right.
Their sex drive is higher than guys.
Yeah. But guys is just more out there than.
So a man are the pusher, like they insist to want to do it.
They instigate.
Like they are
I'm
like
not shy.
they are not shy. Yeah.
Why
They're
should I
like,
shy?
they're like, I want to do the do. While the ladies are like, oh come on, do the do.
Cut that from the tape. We cut that out.
No, we're not.
That was crazy.
What did they sound like? What did they sound like? Give us
You make the sound.
Hell. Yeah,
Oh, but you know what? That just actually just remind me. I feel like that's like a lot of guys misinterpret the no's for yeses. They misinterpret no's for yeses because girls are very like, oh, it's not. Meaning in their head, they really want to get it on.
Exactly.
So then when they come across people who actually, I'm going into a whole other topic. Let me just.
No. I love that.
You know when they come across people who are actually like no, like.
Legitimately, no.
And sometimes we say no a certain way not to be rude. I don't like to embarrass people, so I like to no. Because I don't ever want the other person to feel embarrassed, which I shouldn't care, but and so I think that's why a lot of times guys will misinterpret your no.
That makes
Actually,
sense.
yes.
Yeah, that
Only
makes
because girls are real like shy about what they want to do than guys.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Amalara?
What's the question? I'm not a guy, so that's what it's like.
No, so why does it seem sex is always on the mind of men?
I mean, in most conversations, y'all be the first one to bring it up. Like,
I'm not gonna lie.
Period.
I'm not gonna lie.
Look at you. Go ahead, surrender.
I'm working on myself. God is my way.
I
like she said, they have that
surrender
more
to
outward
you.
expression when it comes to sex, so just assume.
Or you can see it.
Yeah, in the way they look at you, the way they fascinate you, like my
The eyes are speaking.
I mean,
I read, I listened to this lady's podcast. She was like, sex is a way for guys to actually bond with their partner or to just bond in general. So, which is why they like sex more.
How many people do that?
I don't really agree with that because guys will be the same one that will say like, oh, I slept with her, but I don't like her, I don't love her.
Which kind of bonding?
It was just sex. So to them, it's like sex is just a physical thing. It's not.
That's why
to be honest,
guys they like to dip their rubbish rod in every ocean they see. So you get
not every guy.
some guys, and some ladies do like their ocean to be.
I mean, I like the biology argument. God said be fruitful, multiply. So
And but before from applying the right way, my dear, I'm not A, B, C, D, go home. Multiply and go home. Exactly, and go home.
Yes.
But not outside.
To close it out, what is one thing you wish men understood about women, and vice versa? And what are some better ways we better understand each other?
Interesting.
I feel like someone's looking this way.
What is your one?
What is one thing? What did I say? What is one thing you wish men understood about women, and vice versa? And then what are some better ways we can understand each other?
Okay, this is what of advice.
Like, how can men understand women? How can women understand?
Yeah.
I think if we can all keep in mind that not one size fits all, I think that'll help a lot of us. I think I'm answering your second part, but I think that's a big issue. Just assuming that, okay, this guy showed me these red flags. this way, any hints of anything close to that, it might not even be half of what that guy had. I'm out of here. I'm emotionally checked out. Or I feel like if we can understand that, yes, you can have a litmus test and not be completely sure of something. You can have a calculator and still verify it manually. You can still have more than one approach to relationships. So I think generalizing is something that we should try to avoid as much as possible, and it can help us.
Okay. Nice. All right, Gomi.
Mr. Gomi.
Okay, kind of more so to what like what David was saying about the whole generalization, and that like all men are not like the same at all. Like we are all very different. Our likes are different, and not going into a relationship with the idea that, hey, this is how my last boyfriend treated me, or this is what my prior dating arrangement went, and not expecting that from like who they kind of like go into another relationship with another man. And as far as being really kind of like open and just killing the generalization and completely being open with like, hey, you're dealing with someone totally different. This is not who you dealt with in the past, so this is how things are. And hey, I mean, every woman has their choice at the end of the day to kind of like bounce. And I think that most women kind of take it that they can really ultimately like change or kind of fixate a man or mold that man into who they kind of want them to be, when the actuality is not like that. Like this, realistically, that's not possible. So just the whole generalization of like, of man and kind of like putting us all in the same shit is something that, I think we should like consider.
Okay. All
I
right.
guess it's like the flip side for women too, where like we obviously don't want to be put into a box either. We don't want you. I don't think guys can ever really fully understand all women, but assuming that there is one woman out there for every guy, you can get to a point of understanding your woman, right? Because you would have spent that time getting to know her, getting to know the way that she thinks, the way that she reacts to things. So it's like, you have your woman, just focus on yours. Don't talk about the rest of us. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to say it. Don't talk about the rest of us. One of the things that I think could help us understand each other more is like, to the extent that you can, right? Assuming this is in like the relationship viewpoint, try to put yourself in that other person's shoes. Because I know like even in my own relationship, like what has helped me the most is like sometimes I really do have to sit down and think like, okay, why does my husband feel like this? Why is he reacting like this? So it's like until I try to put myself in his shoes and understand like how does this situation look from his eyes, that helps me understand him better, and he does the same for me. So like we reach a common ground a lot faster versus like, no, it's my way or the highway. Like it's only the way that I see this. Like this is why it's wrong, and not understanding that it could be viewed another way. So I think try to put each other in each other's shoes.
Yeah, I think all men are the same. And she can be funny. But but I do think that of course, definitely don't generalize us as well. And I think communicating, like I feel like guys hold a lot of stuff in, and I hate hearing like, oh, because we're men, or oh, because she's not gonna understand, but you don't even give her the chance to understand. Give her the opportunity to see what's wrong and be very straightforward. I don't like people who ghost people. If you're gonna ghost, then just say, look.
Two snaps.
It's just not with it. And then even if she gets upset about it, she don't thank you later about it. You know what I mean? Like, because I know a lot of guys say like, oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings or stuff like that. But I just think being honest with a woman is the best way, because we're smart individuals. Granted, sometimes we like to stay where we want to stay, even if we're not wanted. Even if we're not wanted, we like to be there. Like, I can do this. Double head. But then, like later down the line, you thank that person. You don't have any type of grudge or anything towards them because you were very straightforward. I think, being just straightforward, even if there was something emotionally going on to where you weren't, emotionally unavailable and things like that. Just be very straightforward about what's going on and what you don't want and what you do want and what you do see. With like, just be honest through the entire process.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I hear what Tosin Laura is saying. I just feel like men are just naturally stoic. We're just not going to be able to show our emotions like that, to the best of our ability that you want us to. Let me land, I got you. But think about it. generally speaking, you're not gonna have men that are gonna be as emotional as women. And I think the reason why is because of the testosterone that's running through us. That kind of suppresses, us being, letting our emotions override our system.
Scientific proof.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. I got you. I got you. So, why do you think it's just a few seconds. The trans, why do you think a lot of them take testosterone? Not just for the
physical.
Not just for the physical, but also for the competitiveness, the aggressiveness. And a lot of times that is, you not being emotional. So let me not stray away too much. And I think was one thing. And then what are some better ways we can understand each other? I would say communication. If you look back on the last 2 videos, one thing I said is that women, in my journey in life, women tend to be very covert in their language as far as what they feel. A lot of times that I've noticed, the times that I've gotten blocked multiple times is because she felt some type of way, but she didn't want to express it at that particular time. You were bugging out. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to read body language. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm making a woman, if a woman is uncomfortable, she's gonna be looking around. She's might just gonna take a few steps back. Give you a little grin. Generally speaking, this is just from my experience. So it's more so being able to read body language. And so basically, be more honest. You guys always want honesty from men, but you guys, not you guys, but generally speaking, y'all overt. I mean, I don't have to, why do I gotta tell you everything that I'm feeling? Just, figure it out. You should be able to understand how I move. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of my opinion, really.
It's like, I want to invite you guys should invite one of his exes, please.
That would be great.
It's like there needs to be a special guest coming through the door. Like, I understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
I would
All right,
say, one thing you said where, oh Lord, just upon Jesus.
Oh my God.
No, we'll move on.
Okay.
Okay,
No, ask the question again.
What you said about looking around men and she's uncomfortable. No, not necessarily true. Some people have problems with making eye contact with people. Like I sometimes I don't like when I'm looking into your eyes so much, I feel like, oh my God, and I start to look away. So that's a me problem. It might be somebody else's problem, but I'm just saying that one just to say. Another thing is not just communication alone. Communication and comprehension. We can talk all day long and not understand each other. We have to talk and understand each other in order for there to be any changes at all. So that's my own take on it. And yeah, men should be more honest.
Yeah.
Honest men are very appreciated. If they don't know it, I'm letting y'all know out there. You guys are appreciated. You get me? Thank you.
For me, you mentioned, I remember Tose mentioned when the girl says no, but she asks yes. That would be a really big problem because, sometimes men wouldn't really listen to what is being heard. We go with body language pretty much
listeners.
Because some of us we just believe that girls don't really talk much or they are shy people pretty much. So that's why when you were talking about girls being I don't want to say what I'll say honey. So we mentioned that we mentioned that it's guy that will be like, I want to get it. You understand? Like guys are more the ones that speaks pretty much. So it's the same way that we also, when you tell us no, when you tell us one thing and your body language says the other, that's the way we perceive it. So sometimes, or most times, I would rather have a lady, if she's saying no and she means no, just be rude. If you want to be rude about it, be rude about it. That's your own problem. You understand? At least I know that gives me that I'm not wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're saying something and you're doing something else, you're giving me hope. You understand? False hope. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't want to waste my time. You understand? No man wants to waste his time.
Of course.
That itty bitty whole lot.
Come on now.
Yes.
You know us. Yeah.
Say it. Even if you say it and you act it, if you say it and you act it, at least we might hate you. We might start giving you some attitude and stuff like that. We might just be happy. You understand? Oh, she's a rude or whatever. But on the long run, we're actually gonna like it because at the end, when we become friends that we know our place, we know our boundaries. But if you are saying it and you are doing the opposite, Yeah, wasting our time because I mean, if you want to punch us.
Speak for yourself.
But yeah, and the second question was, what do we want to?
What are some better ways to better understand each other?
I mean, understanding pretty much. Like when I say understanding is like coming like straight to the point. Like don't try to cover it up. Don't try to beat around the bush.
Be direct.
Let your yes be yes and let your no be no. You understand? If you are gonna tell me something, tell me now. And tell me clear. Let me get really clear. Like don't tell me.
Wait, what if she can't tell you now? What if she forgets? And you remember
Even they confused, man.
You're speaking for all of us. If you are speaking, let's remember the ones that are, some type of way. There are some people who wants to say something.
I mean, if you forget,
and then they remember later
So you
on.
feel like if they can't say it in the moment.
Exactly, exactly. Then one comes maybe at night, 2 a.m. in the morning, baby, I want to tell you something. And then you're like, what happened to morning, afternoon, evening? You didn't tell me nothing. You just telling me now. So it happens like that.
I mean, no, it does happen, but that's part of my point. As long as you say it, you understand? As long as you're not trying to hide it, you understand, or trying to be nice or I'll call it fake about it, pretty much, because you are just deceiving me pretty much, and I don't like to be. For me, as a guy, and I think it will help many guys, it will help everyone in general.
Yeah.
You are being honest and like saying what it is for what it is,
So
and not beating
like
around the bush. I mean, it's not like when I say I like it blunt, be respectful about it.
Some people be so blunt and respectful.
Don't be fully blunt, you understand? If you don't want, you can be like, I don't want, you understand? But don't be like, I don't want.
Okay, so it's not really, you just worry about the delivery.
The delivery, yeah.
So it's not what you say.
Yeah, you don't embarrass.
But you want her to get her point across.
Yeah,
like, this is not going
this is not. Yeah, don't say. I don't want.
The chest rub. You can't do the chest rub and the eye rub. I don't want. No. When it's not, it's that. I don't want.
So, I wanted to say something to add to it. I feel like it's going to be difficult. How do I phrase this? I feel like it's going to be somewhat difficult for a lot of women because women naturally are coy because women mature faster. That they're getting a lot of attention when they're young, so they have to be able to pick and choose, who to give their attention to. So they're naturally going to be a little bit, standoffish to a certain degree. So being straightforward is not really in a lot of women's arsenal. You know what I'm saying? And when a man wants you, you don't want to come across as easy to get. So you're going to be coy. You're going to be like, all right, well, I kind of like you.
No, that's why.
Wait. You said it's not in their Arsenal. It's in their Manchester.
No, to be honest, like you are waiting for that moment. But no, you're right. You're right. You see, that's why I said there's a way you say it, right? If she's the person that's like, I don't want, and she's like, you understand? That means she's telling you that she's like she's trying to be tough, pretty much. You understand what I'm saying? Like she's telling you no, but she's not completely telling you. That's how you say no. You understand? If you still want it, but if you don't want it at all, don't give the body language of you still want it.
That's the Kelly song. My mind is telling me.
I would just advise you guys until she says, touch me.
Then you touch her. And when you say stop,
even the ones who are like, stop it. That's why when you leave, they're going to be like, he forced me. Like, I'm not kidding. That's a real story. Like, until the girl sit there and be like, bro, come on, let's do this thing now. Then I advise you guys to just sit where you are. And in the middle, what you
thought very well. You're right. Let's use this opportunity to appreciate our beautiful guests and our handsome guests.
Thank you for coming. Thank you.
I'm so glad to have black people here because black don't crack, which means this video is never gonna crack. Thank you guys for coming.
We appreciate you.
Tosin, Omolara, David, and Boomy. It's so nice to see your beautiful faces.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys, and
thank you for coming.